Hi Warriors, DeCrayons here, and what I plan on doing in this video is to draw a grid drawing for my barn here, so I can start painting. Now, the reason why we draw grids is because it helps us draw things in proportion and in perspective. So a grid is just vertical and horizontal lines across a paper. And then what it allows you to do then is just look at where the lines stop in each grid, and it becomes really easy to draw something out. After you draw the grid, what's the next process to do would be sketching. And sketching is to draw light lines and just draw it light, that way you can erase it if you need to. And you're going to paint over it anyway, so you don't want to draw really dark lines anyways. So let's get started here. So now there's a couple different ways to do this. So I got my watercolor paper here, and the first thing I could do is I actually use my computer screen or laptop, and it could make this big, and then you could actually like just trace the grid itself. The second thing you could do is actually just measure it out. Now if you measure it out, you look at the lines and stuff like that, and depending on what kind of paper, I believe I passed out 2 different size paper to everyone in the class. So you might have a 9-inch by 10-inch paper or a 9-inch by 12-inch paper. So it just kind of depends on what kind of paper you have. But the other way would be do is you would take your ruler and you could just see. So this is 12 inches. So what I want to do is just divide by 3. So I would just go every 4 inches. So 4 inches, 8 inches, and then on the top and the bottom paper, 4 inches. And then another 4 inches would be 8 inches. And then I can just draw lines going straight up and down for my grid. And then from top to bottom, it's 9 inches, so then I would do every 3 inches. So 3 inches, 6 inches, 3 inches, 6 inches, and then draw my horizontal lines to draw my grid. So you can trace it, you can measure it. There's one other easier way, and that's where if you take your drawing and just kind of like match it up so it's level with the, or if you print it out, you could just take the printout, and then you could just take a ruler instead of doing any measuring, and just kind of like line up the lines and just go straight across. Let the lines again go straight across, and then do the same thing where it goes horizontal, where you like line up the lines and then go straight down without measuring it. So anyways, first thing, so that's just it. You want to get your grid. Now, once I got my grid, then it's easy to start drawing out. So I'm going to start drawing this out. And I like to work my way from the top left to the bottom right, but I mean there's not a really right way around to do it. Now, I want to kind of draw the barn, the cupola, this little shed out. I want to kind of make those like match up and everything like that. But it comes down to the trees. Don't worry about that. You can just kind of draw swirly lines. You can change up your trees. You can change up your bushes on the bottom all you want. So those don't need to match up very much at all. You can do whatever you want with those. But I want to get this barn kind of matched up. So what I like to do then is look in the, look kind of see, so you can see right here in this top square, and then my top square, I can just go ahead and I can actually draw where I think the point is, which is about right there. So on the, right there for this thing, so in the bottom left corner, I kind of have where the peak is. Then it kind of goes down to a little under halfway towards the middle of the next grid. So I just kind of draw a little dot right there, and I just kind of match it up. Now this is an old barn, so the lines don't need to be straight. You can have like a little bit of curves in them because you know the roof's kind of sagged after many years. So you don't need to worry about drawing like straight lines or anything like that for this barn. Then I got my peak right here, and I have where it ends over here. So then I can just take my paper and match it up to about right there. It's kind of where it ends. And then I have my second line. And I'm just going to continue doing this then. So right here kind of comes down to the middle box, but on the right hand side towards the middle. So about right, say like right about there. I'm just going to draw. But you can see by drawing using the grid method, it gets to be pretty easy. And it kind of comes in a little bit, and there's a parallel line going up. For the barn. And then there's a window right over here. Comes up a little ways, and it comes down a little bit, and then that's where you're gonna have where the shed part comes out right there. Now from here, kind of comes to the middle, far left box in the middle, right about there. And then this is the bottom of the shed. Line kind of comes in down, up and down right here for the edge of the barn. There's a kind of an overhang. And again, just matching up kind of what I see. On the paper. Now, probably like the most difficult thing to draw would be the cupola on the top of the barn. And so for the cupola, it kind of comes like right about here. You know, I have no idea why they call it cupola, but anyway, it's called the cupola. So you start out with a line that kind of comes parallel to the slope of the roof. Then it kind of goes parallel to the slope of the roof going up and down. You got one side, and then it kind of comes over to the other side. And then the cupola kind of comes up. You got three little lines. Then you have the roof of the cupola. Then you have some lines then that kind of like comes up, over, kind of curves on down. Curves on down. Curves on down. And you got, there's kind of like a vent thing or a window at the top of the cupola. So that's the start of the cupola. Then looking at the other side right here, you kind of have a line kind of coming up and down for the side of the barn. There's a little drainage pipe. And it's got two doors. Yeah, this one's a little further over. These are just kind of like big sliding doors, I'm guessing. Another sliding door over here. Bigger. So then there's a shed, and then the shed, it's kind of, again, you kind of just draw two lines for the top of the roof, kind of comes off right around here. And then there's the second part of the roof, right about here. Then there's a window. For the window is just a box. A little X in the middle of it. Don't you worry about that. Anyways, so that's pretty much it for the barn. There's a couple of like stakes and stuff in the picture. You can draw those in if you want or not, or change them up. But for the most part, you got one kind of coming this way, one kind of coming right behind it. And you got another one over here somewhere. So then the very last thing then would be you got some bushes. So just kind of look at the thing and got kind of like one kind of clump of bushes right over here. Kind of draw like a little circle. You got another clump kind of coming over this way. Another kind of clump over here, and kind of a clump coming up right over here. So you just, again, I'm not drawing these detailed because I'll draw those detailed when I paint them. But just kind of knowing that there's some bushes and stuff right there. And the last part is there's some trees in the background. And you can change up the trees all you want. But looking at it, I'm going to have like a tree behind the shed, a tree behind the barn. And for the tree behind the shed, you just kind of sketch out however you want it. Nature doesn't do straight lines. Nature goes this way and that way. So there's not a right way or a wrong way to do a tree. You know, have a clump over here and then maybe behind the cupola. Behind the barn, I got another set of trees. Again, that comes up this way. But feel free to change it up, however you want to do it. Anyways, so that's it for the sketching part. The next video, I'm going to start painting it and kind of go through how to paint the sky and then go into the barn part. Thanks.